What's up, brother?
Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to the show.
Hello
Greetings and salutations.
from the Battle Bros podcast.
Or as we say nowadays, what's up there, weirdos? Woo! Yeah!
Yeah.
What's going on,
So how you
everybody?
been,
Welcome
man?
back to the Battle Bros podcast with Mac and Alamo. I am Mac. This
Alamo.
is Alamo. So this is a little thing we do every Friday night. And hopefully, if you've not been here before, you like what you see. If you've been here before, well, hey, cool. Let's sit back and let's kick back and have a good time and enjoy the hell out of this shit. How about it? Woo! So, yeah.
Woo-hoo. Damn Skippy.
How you doing there, bud?
Doing all right. It was a fairly good. It was a fairly okay-ish week, and kind of finished it off. I'm working on probably anywhere between 4.5 to 4 maybe hours of sleep because I spent the night actually cooking what we in my culture call a pernil, and it's essentially just a roast pork shoulder. Very,
Oh snap! Oh snap! Yeah, buddy.
very delicious. Very delicious.
If you guys haven't tried this stuff before, not just his, but anybody's of the Spanish persuasion, get off your ass and try this shit. It's awesome. But you know what? Lack of sleep for this is for a good cause, my man. So
I put a little twist on mine, though.
don't give away family secrets on our show. We don't know people that well.
Oh yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah, as I say, I'll tell you
Leave your
the twist later.
secrets and take it to the grave, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Take it to the grave. So yeah. So if you caught us last week, I guess we'll just kick right into this, man. If you
Hell
caught
yeah.
us last week, episode 019 was about camaraderie. We did that because it was right after Veterans Day.
Yeah.
And kind of fitting for the time to do it and whatnot. So this week we're going to get back to a little bit of a serious topic, kind of help break that stigma. We're going to be talking about the anniversary cycle. And I know some of you might be looking at this going, what does that mean? Well, the anniversary cycle is kind of something that can happen, not just with veterans, but it's also something that can happen with, just everyday folks as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's kick into this, shall we? So what is an
indeed,
anniversary?
brother.
What is an anniversary? Anniversary is the date on which an event took place or an institution was founded in a previous year. And it may also refer to the commemoration or celebration of that event. Now, when we are talking about kind of not so good and happy joy anniversaries, that could mean a little bit more of a somber tune.
Joy.
I mean, let's face it, this is what it is. So,
Yeah.
anniversary could be, and you'll see when we get to talking about this, there's some anniversaries that we talk about that are not exactly the most, happy anniversaries that we want to talk about, but at the same time, they're things that still need to be remembered and whatnot. So, So what do we mean when we say the anniversary cycle? So the anniversary cycle and how it, and then we're going to talk about how it kind of pertains to mental health here. So the anniversary cycle is like let's say, hypothetically speaking, you had a battle buddy or a fellow service member that was KIA or they were wounded or something along those lines. Okay. So that date is coming up. So we're going to look at kind of like three facets of this anniversary type thing. You're going to have about 2 weeks before the pre-anniversary, you're going to have the date of, and then you're going to have the post-anniversary and why those are all important. Okay. So I went ahead and conferred with one of our many sources that we use on this show, our friend Brian, who is very learned in the ways of psychology and whatnot. So shout out to Brian. Yeah, man, we love you.
Yeah, Brian.
Yeah, bruh. Yeah, bruh. Bad. Anyway, so as we talked about, when we're talking about the cycle of that, okay, a lot of times what can happen is when it comes to like something of a negative affect on somebody, what can happen a lot of times, I'm sorry, I'm belching up dinner here, man. leftover taco stuff. Oh man, I'm hating life right now. It's terrible.
Just hold it, man. Hold it. Don't
No,
chuck. Don't
it's
chuck.
it's just I'm tasting refried bean and hamburger meat. It's like, so good. And that queso cheese was the bomb. Anyway, so as I was saying, no, we're good, man. Like I said, if I got to cut and run, you know what's up. Anyway, so like we were talking about just before we came on air, the reason why this is important is you can, as you know, as we've tried to do sometimes to try to give you the perspective of the loved one, the spouse, so to speak. What you could notice being that third party, spouse, loved one, family member, is that there could be a slight change. Okay. And what I mean by that is this.
Yeah.
What can happen is you are anticipating that coming up. And as a result of this anticipation, you kind of perpetuate this day being really kind of somber to the point of just interrupting your daily routine, that kind of jazz. So you kind of just have to be careful of that. And as a loved one or family member, you may notice a slight change in their mannerisms, in their behaviors. They might not be as patient. They might not be as willing to talk. And we'll get into this a little bit more heavier later on the show. But one of the things you have to understand as a loved one, as a parent, sometimes spouse, whatever the case may be, understand that. Knowing that that is coming up can make you just be more aware of it and kind of make you, or allow you, I should say, to be more able to cope with that person. Equally so is the person that's coming up and having the anniversary, you know, like the person that's kind of putting themselves through this anniversary cycle. It's important for you as well to let your loved ones know, just, hey, I'm going to tell you right now, if you see anything different in me, this is what's going on. Here's why. So just be patient with me. I'm going to try not to be a total ass clown or an ass hat while I'm over the next 2 weeks while I'm processing all of this. So just kind of one of those stand by to prepare to wait kind of deals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
as an example, as a short example, you know, like for me, it's the events on January 8th of 08. You know, it's when we lost that squad. You know, and at this point, my wife is pretty much caught on to the deal. She's pretty well aware. My boys, you know, are beginning to catch on. They're not there yet, though. They're still young.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and we'll kind of talk a little bit more in depth about what our experiences are with the anniversary cycle a little bit later. But we're gonna keep rolling this along for a minute. So, you have the date. You have the date of the anniversary, whatever the case may be, whether it's, you know, a service member, whether it's, you know, somebody getting hurt, whether it's any one of a number of things. You know, it's important to kind of just keep your head on as tight and as on a swivel as much as you can, just because of the fact that, like, a lot of times this can be a pretty downward thing. You know, you focus and you get really caught up in the morning, and you get caught up in, you know, just the events that played out or took place during that particular day. So It's okay to remember. It's okay to memorialize. And as we're going to tell you later, you got to just be careful you don't go too far down that rabbit hole. Okay?
Yeah.
Lastly, what we want to talk about, and we're going to kind of, you know, get it up right here, is you have the post anniversary. So it might take a little bit to kind of get back in your normal routine after the anniversary itself. It might take you, you know, a few weeks to kind of just get things right, to get things going a little bit, so on and so forth. So understanding that and being familiar with that is going to be the most important part of this, you know, cycle that happens every single year. So let's kind of get into the nitty-gritty of this. So we're going to talk about our experiences. So Alamo, I'm going to let you go first because yours is more, you know, service-based, and then mine's kind of more on a personal note as well. So
yeah,
the floor is yours, my man. So take it away.
Well, with me, I mean, it really just comes down to, like I said, the events of January 8th. January 8th is when that entire squad from Hunter Platoon went into the building. And to make things clear once again for, you know, all of our listeners and our viewers out there, you know, I it's one of those things where I didn't know these men. Excuse me. Now I got something coming up, but I got flan pocho. what you call it? The I didn't really know a lot of these guys very well, but I knew well enough that again these were all good guys. You know, I mean, no matter how no matter how bad the rivalries got between, obviously, us as the mortal platoon, and then them as the as the snipers. Um, it it's always kind of like a hard time for me because I think we discussed it in episode what was it 18. I think it was episode 18 where it still rocks me to this day that I wasn't able to do more.
Yeah. Survivor's guilt. Yeah.
And it's hard every time because I still wonder like why the hell I came home. Hey, we got a viewer on right now. Welcome to the show. Welcome back. Welcome back. But what it was just one of those things where for me, it's gotten easier. When I first came home, it was beyond difficult. There wasn't. I had to. Like I called out of work a couple times because I just couldn't. I couldn't process working and then having to think about that stuff all day. Because at that time, the guilt was still very rough for me. You know what I mean?
Pretty raw, I imagine.
Yeah, and it's not exactly you want to think about some good stuff like I remember well I'll get into the good stuff here in a little bit. I know we were going to discuss that too, but it was it's tough, man. It is. It's absolutely 100% tough.
Of course.
What you got, brother?
So mine is more of a kind of like a something that happened on a personal note. 3 years ago, on my 34th birthday, my dad at the time was going through some getting some help to kind of cure something he was going through. I believe he had some type of some kind of growth that was going, I think, on his liver at the time or something. So,
ouch.
He went through his first treatment for chemotherapy. Like they put the port in and everything. Gone through his first treatment of chemotherapy, and later that day, like we went straight from the office, which was right over next to the regional hospital. Hold on a sec. Excuse me. And pretty much went right over there, went to the ER, and we're just like, hey, he's having trouble keeping fluids down, this, that, and the other. So he pretty much went into the hospital on my birthday.
Oof.
So from kind of the wise-assical sense of things, my birthday is not exactly something that I celebrated for a couple of really dumb, like smart-ass reasons.
Yeah.
So my birthday is 29 August. So if you know anything about movie lore and whatnot, August 29th, 1997 is when Skynet became self-aware and pretty much wiped everybody out. They're just like,
Are you Dustin McGinnis?
Nope, wrong guy. Completely wrong guy. The other thing too, and it wasn't so bad at times, but they're like, oh, and you got the same birthday as Michael Jackson, and Michael Jackson's so years old today. I'm like, I don't care. So those are dumb reasons and stuff. But it was my birthday 3 years ago was when my dad went into the hospital, and he was there for approximately a week, and then he unfortunately succumbed to what was the ailment that he had, and passed away and all that kind of stuff. So what was really traumatic and just really fucked up was the fact that my dad passed away the day before his 69th birthday. So it was the last day of being 68 years old. And I had just turned 34. So for about a year or so after the fact, I really didn't feel like celebrating my birthday that much, but also the fact of, I felt like literally like I was halfway through my life, he passed away at 68 and I just turned 34. So I'm like, well, all sliding downhill from here. Woohoo. So, it took me a little while to get over that. It's just unfortunately one of those coincidences that are just kind of like, kind of weird and stuff. But, it really, I had a hard time getting past that for a while. So it was just kind of a little bit fucky. So, it's gotten a lot better, and we'll talk about how we cope with that kind of stuff. But like I said, it's gotten a lot better. So,
yeah, man, I totally get it. It was because for me, the whole thing was, I mean, like I said, I discussed it on a couple episodes back. For me, it was the whole thing of like, I just didn't understand why they didn't make it home, but I did. You know what I mean? And considering where my life was at the time, how it was all jacked up, how I didn't feel like I was achieving anything, and excuse me, good God, how I didn't feel like I was achieving anything. I was being a fucking lump on a log, lazy bitch, whatever you want to say. I didn't feel like I was living up to, the sacrifice those guys made. And every year it got worse and worse, you know what I mean? In terms of the feeling, like the like remembering it, for longer periods of time got better, if that makes sense. But the feeling of, well, what are you doing with your life, got worse every year, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I totally get that. I mean, it's it's kind of one of those ones where it just really kind of fucks you for a little bit. So what can we do to help break this vicious cycle of just repeating not the nonsense, but just repeating the negativity over and over and over again?
Yeah.
So one of the things you can do is for a parent or loved one, like we said earlier, understand that they're going through something. Understand that it's not exactly going to be an easy conversation, but it's just, being the loved one, you should be able to recognize the signs and just be like, hey, he or she is going through some stuff. We need to understand that. Just kind of help them react and stuff. So,
yeah.
The other thing we can do as individuals going through this is you have to try to find that balance. It's okay. It's okay to try to, it's okay to remember and to grieve, but we have to find that balance of grieving and then filling that day with positivity as well. So
yeah,
that's very, very important.
So, yeah. I noticed that for me, preoccupying myself with things that kind of like help out like people and things like that is really kind of like how I started to try and move on. You want to find a bigger sense of purpose. You want to start occupying yourself with something more, and kind of focus on the positivity of you're doing something else, at least from my perspective, from what I was going through. You know what I mean? And I noticed that the more I focused on, especially like I just remembered something. One of the NCOs who ended up being killed in the blast, his name was Sergeant Gall. When we were deployed, the mortars, and the snipers, we were all kind of like on one side, of the area, and then obviously all the support people, like the S teams and all that stuff, they were on the other side. But we had like kind of like the barricades, the big tall barricades, like the ones that were like 15 feet tall. We had those, kind of, in between us and the other people. And we were coming back from the little PX that we had, because this is in Baghdad. So, we were very close to the green zone, and, we had all the freaking fixins. And so I remember seeing Sergeant Gall. I remember seeing Sergeant Gall, and he had a slingshot in his hand. Don't ask me why.
Listen, you got 11 bang bang with a slingshot in his hand. No good comes of this. I'm just throwing that out there. Right?
And he was holding some. It looked like one of those, like, I think it was like some kind of like a little, like, I don't know if it was like a stink bomb or whatever the hell it was, but it was something. It looked almost clearish but opaque-ish. And he's like, yeah, yeah. You want to see something funny? And he launched it over the wall into. And 11 series, we
are just horrible people when it comes to pranks.
Tend to mess with the Fobbits quite a bit, and yes, I concur with that as well. And he goes, and you see him kind of like do like the running tiptoe, like he's running literally on his toes, like as he's running way after he slingshots it over. But the funniest thing is after he did that, all I heard on the other side of the wall was, no. Like it was like somebody, you could literally hear like an audible, no, like somebody literally just got whatever, either nailed or something happened. It was terrible.
They might not have been a point target, but they were an area target. So,
no, yeah. So it was funny, man. It was funny, and
oh, hell yeah.
You think about little shit like that. You think about some of these guys that, just some of the dumb shit that they do, and some of the dumb shit you may have done possibly with somebody else, And,
I mean, every time that day rolls around for me, I just kind of think back to like just some of the funniest memories I have with my dad. Just laughing about something stupid, or just remembering, just like we were both in the middle of some kind of experience that was just like, seriously, man, like what the fuck else? But I know I owe a lot to who I am to my dad. Obviously, he taught me a lot of lessons. Which it's funny how life works. Like you find these lessons, like how they affect you, and then how you pass them along to somebody else. So like something that I was trying to impress upon my daughter, and yeah, I know she's 7, she's young, she's a kid. I get that, but there's never a bad time for passing on the knowledge and the wisdom and stuff. And I was just trying to tell her, like, she wanted to do, I think she wanted to watch TV or something. I said, not right now. She just kind of goes, just get like this Bubba, with this giant, like, Bubba lip, from Forrest Gump. But better get that caught. You're going to get caught on a tripwire.
Yeah.
And she started pounding a little bit. And I said, sweetie, you're not, it's okay to not get your way. You're not always going to get what you want. And I kind of went back to this poem that my dad had me read a long time ago, and I don't remember the gist of the entire poem, but the last line of it is like the kicker. So it's a poem called Attitude by Charles Swindoll. It's Swindoll. I may have talked about it once in the show before. I don't remember, but the last line of the poem is, I am convinced that life is 10% I'm messing it up already. I'm convinced that life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. And it's one of those little gems of wisdom that he just kind of stuck on me one time, and it just sat there and it just kind of festered in a good way, where it just always kind of just remained in the back corner of my mind. It's just like, huh. Interesting. So, but yeah, it's just funny how those moments kind of, and have those multi-generational type experiences. So,
Yeah.
So, knowing what we know about this now, so we have work up to about 2 weeks before the anniversary itself, and then 2 weeks afterwards. It's going to take a little bit to kind of get our heads back on right and just kind of sink back into a normal routine where we're not constantly thinking about this event or this person on said event, so on.
Yeah.
Okay, so what can we do to help somebody through this? Well, like we mentioned earlier, it's finding the positives of those experiences with those people. Not everything's negative. Yeah, they're no longer with us. You try to remember the good stuff, and that sounds cliche, but it really does help. It's important.
Yeah.
But also the fact, especially for something like service connected, or even for folks in like law enforcement or firefighters or whatnot, if you have somebody that went down in the line of duty, whether it be a cop or firefighter, that kind of thing, it's like you kind of have to find that balance. You want to mourn them, you want to remember them. Okay, at first it's going to be a lot of mourning.
Yeah,
that's okay. It's okay to mourn somebody who's no longer with us because we feel that loss, we feel that vacuum where that person once was. And everybody, excuse me, so sorry. Everybody, no matter how significant or insignificant, has an effect on somebody else in your life. They have in your life for a reason. They have some type of effect that they have on you. So, it is what it is. So, I would strongly encourage that you want to make sure that you do a good job of balancing, paying respects to them, remembering the fallen as it was, and then also just sit back and remembering the good times, talking about, hey, here's a funny story from this person. It was hilarious. It's still something I giggle about to this day. So taking and getting rid of not everything being negative, but just sit there and, try to insert some positive. Remember a story, remember a joke they told you, something that just kind of has a lasting impression on that type of stuff. What did you want to add to that there, bud?
Well, it could be down to because sometimes I even think of some really stupid stuff too, where, you got in trouble with this NCO, like for example, I got in trouble with a certain NCO. I'm not gonna, say the name just because, I'm trying to limit the amount, but
keep it classy.
Either way, I want to say I accidentally gave him the finger because I thought he was someone from my platoon. The guy was a little heavier set, and he was wearing the same helmet, he was wearing a helmet that had the same cover on it as a buddy of mine in my platoon. And
so it basically was a case of mistaken identity.
Yeah, I saw him standing there, and I was like walking onto the range, and I go, "Oh yeah," and I give him the finger, and he's like, "Does this guy know he's flipping off an NCO?" I was like, "That is not so and so." Oh shit! And I remember he goes,
"I'll just start banging these out now." Exactly.
I was on the ground immediately, and so he comes over, and like, what were you thinking? I was like, I am a dumb fuck, Sergeant. Sorry. I'm going to be, if I'm completely honest, I thought you were someone else. That's the God's honest truth. And he was like, just get up and get on the range. God damn it. Roger, Sergeant.
Disappearing. Gone.
Yeah. I got a talking to my squad leader that day.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
It wasn't exactly fun.
And what does that relate to the military, boys and girls? Positive target identification.
Yeah. Make sure you know who you're...
Positive identification of your target.
Yeah.
Make sure you know who you're giving the finger to before you give the finger to them.
So, yeah. It was, it's simple stuff like that. You know what I mean? You can't continue to focus on the negative. Another way I ended up, like I said, I started trying to do things constructively. I started to say, like, okay, well, they're not here. Well, they made a sacrifice. You know what I mean? To do what they all sacrificed, like we all did. But obviously, they made the ultimate sacrifice. Um, they're not here, but what can you do to not let their sacrifice be in vain?
That's a very valid point too, because
You
a
know,
lot of folks I know or that I've seen that wear some type of KIA bracelet or something along those lines. That's a reminder to them to go out and live their life to the fullest, because this person gave up their life so that they could come home. So it's a way to give honor and memorialize them. It's like, I'm going to do the best I can to live the life that I can. So absolutely, it's definitely one of those ones where it's just like, absolutely. So
yeah, which leads us to this show. You know, what this is another way of me saying, like, I know that there's guys out there, gals out there that have lost their lives. There's guys and gals out there that have lost their lives to, that one statistic that we're trying to get rid of. And for me, you're damn right. And for me, if just getting on here and talking to people, getting on here and trying to build that community here on the platforms that we're using, on the platforms rather that we're using, if in some way, shape, or form we can touch somebody to get them to start thinking constructively too about where they're at in their lives, I mean, that means the entire world to me, man. So I don't know, what do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, one's too many, so 22 is way too damn many. So
yeah, you're damn right.
Anything we can do to kind of curb the tide of this, I mean, we're going to do. So it's
Hell
weird.
yeah.
I think we're pretty much done with the show, and we're only like 32 minutes in, which is,
I know, this is a relatively short one. Yeah.
It's going to be a short one. So
yeah.
But yeah, so this is like Alan was said, this is a reason why we do the show. It's important to know that everybody has a story, whether they, were taken from us or they, unfortunately became one of the statistic. It's important to know that they have a story that needs to be told. They have, memories and jokes and stories that should be shared, because that's how we keep them alive, is through memories and whatnot. So the way that we do that is, we had, come up with a show. We came up with a code, and we try to memorialize this every single day, try to live these values every single day. And it's called the Bros Code.
Damn right.
And basically, it's easy as hell to remember. I mean, it's not that hard at all. So you just got to remember 4 letters: BROS. Be tenacious. Okay. No matter what you do in life, where your path leads you, do it to the fullest of your extent and do it to the best of your ability, whether it's being a parent, whether it's being a cop, a firefighter, a paramedic, a soldier, a teacher, a janitor, a groundskeeper. Whatever you do, take some pride in your shit and go out there and do the best you can.
Damn right.
Refuse to surrender. There's going to be things that are going to cause you to get distracted, turn around, whatever the case may be. Just remember that it's important for you to stay on target. Do not let anything get you down, and keep marching towards the OBJ. Keep hitting it, striving for the objective. Okay. Oh, obliterate your obstacles. Going along with what we just last said. If you have something that gets in your way, sidestep it, go over it, go under it, go around it. Sometimes you got to blow the fucking thing up with some C4 and just say, all right, cool, let's keep going. Understand that and figure out how to get through that obstacle and keep marching. Okay. Lastly, seek out a friend in time of need. So this is kind of goes back to what we were talking about today is, it may not be that you're having some bad thoughts or you're going to be thinking you might become one of the statistic, but it just might be a day where you're trying to remember somebody and just be like, hey man, I need to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Feeling too good. Let's hash this out, that kind of stuff. It's okay to seek out a friend when you need help, and we encourage that. We want to break that stigma. You just have to bottle the stuff downside. You don't have to do that. Excuse me. If you have a service member that that's a friend of yours, call them up, lean on them. They should be able to help you right back. If you don't have anybody available, just remember there's the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. Okay, that's open 24 hours a day. The phone number is 1-800-273-8255. 8255. Again, that's 1-800-273-8255. Know that there are resources available for you whenever you need it. Okay, don't just feel like you have to go through this alone. We don't want you to become the 22, one of the 22. We don't want you to solve a temporary problem with a permanent solution. That's never the answer. Okay.
Yeah. And if you would like to catch us on the social medias, you could always catch us on the Facebook at facebook.com/.
Hey, I'm gonna have to cut out early, so I'm gonna go. Okay.
All right. Cool.
What we talked about earlier.
10-4, man. You could catch us on the social medias at facebook.com/battlebros.podcast. You could also catch us on the Instagram at battlebros_podcast. You can also catch us on the Spotify, Anchor app, all those other audio platforms that I've mentioned previously. We are also working on a Rumble account as well. We're working on creating a platform here on Rumble for us. We hope that you guys actually get a chance to actually check that out as well. Any of the videos that I post onto the Rumble will be posting also to Facebook, and usually you can actually catch a link there as well. If that's the case, so with everything that we've talked about tonight, that's pretty much does it for us. So we hope that you guys have enjoyed this episode. We hope to catch you on the next one. We do love you guys. Do not miss out on the next episodes. The next 2 episodes for sure are going to be our last 2 episodes for the season. And we will catch you back after winter break. And as always, this has been Alamo. Mac had to cut out early. Battle Bros Podcast. Battle Bros out.